Today we'll show you how I modify my portable hot tent stove so that I can use inside my house with my fireplace so I can heat my house for free with free wood. This stove actually fits inside my fireplace, and I used to just put it in there, and then this pipe right here will go straight into the chimney and it will fit in there just fine. The problem with that is this part of the stovepipe is the hottest part of the whole stove, and all the heat is going up here and then up inside my chimney out of the house. So with that setup, I only capture about 10 to 20% of the heat. The rest of the heat is wasted and it was exhausted out of the house. I want to be able to capture the heat before it goes out in the chimney and goes out of the house. And this is what I come up with. The stove is completely outside of the fireplace, and then we got the pipe section that goes up and then down, and we got the flexible section that goes inside the chimney and then it goes up, and that goes outside of the house. Most of the heat that comes out of the stove is the stove itself and the very first section of the pipe. This actually is the hottest part of the stove. This part of the stove up here is still very hot, but by the time it gets down here to this flexible pipe, it's lost about 80% of the heat already. So about, I would say, 20% of the heat comes out and gets out of the house through the chimney. So by separating the hottest part of the stove outside of the fireplace, all of this heat retains inside the house before it gets out through the exhaust. Let me disassemble this and show you all of the parts I use for this. This is one section of the pipe. That's the elbow. We got another elbow here. This is one shorter section of the pipe. And then we got the flexible part of the pipe that goes inside the fireplace. This part here is metal aluminum, but it's fine here because most of the heat comes out of the stove is here. It goes up, and by the time it gets to this point, it's not hot enough to melt the aluminum. But if you put the aluminum right here, it will certainly melt the aluminum because it's very hot, like red hot, right here where it first exits this stove. Let me open this glass door and show you the inside. By the way, this here is just a piece of fiberglass, so that will protect the heat that comes from the back of the stove. So here's the inside of the fireplace. You got the flexible pipe that comes from the outside, goes through this piece of aluminum. It's a very thin piece of aluminum, so that I can block all of the hot air from coming inside the fireplace. And then it continues to go, and then it will bend upward up into the hole of the chimney, and all of the smoke is going out of the house through the chimney. And now I can just close this door normally, just like that. Let's fire her up and turn her on, shall we? I've got a few pieces of wood in there, and this is the size that I use. Usually I have to chop it up in smaller pieces, otherwise it will take a very long time to start. And you don't want to do that anyway, because it's going to send smoke back into the house. Let me show you a trick to fire this up very quickly and very easily. Fire starting fluid. And this one is ethanol based, so it doesn't stink up the house. But this is a very good system. It has good seal, so most of the smoke, almost all the smoke comes out of the house anyway, so you won't smell anything. And because this is ethanol based, that gives me an idea. Why don't I use hand sanitizer? This is ethanol based and it should work. Let's try it out. I'm just gonna spray some in there. Now I'm gonna put a few pieces of wood on the top of that. Now we can light her up. That's all it takes. The glass is fogging up because of the water vapor, but let me show you the sneak peek inside here. That's all it takes to fire this up very easily. I got a pot full of water, a giant heat sink coming from an amplifier, and that way I can capture almost all the heat before it gets out of the house. It's raging hot in there. Just 1 minute later, I'll show you how hot it is. Just 1 minute later, over 230 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see how well it burns in there. The hand sanitizer actually works very well. It works beautifully. You can see there's absolutely no smoke at all. All of the smoke goes out of the exhaust, up the chimney, and out of the house. We're about 10 minutes in, and it's raging fire in there. Let's see how hot she is. 462 degrees Fahrenheit. That's almost 250 degrees Celsius. All of this heat concentrates right here, and it goes up, and then it radiates toward the entire house. The water is now boiling. There we go. The heat sink, very hot. I can't even touch it. Wow. Oh, that's hot. So there you have it, how I heat my house for free with a modified hot tent stove. The wood I use for the stove is just from used pallet and from a local carpentry shop, and they give away a lot of these for free. You can also use this setup for your hot tent because this will make the stove a lot more efficient. So this U-turn on the top here captures almost all of the heat that comes out of the stove and makes it a lot more efficient than just a straight pipe that goes up, all the way up. That's all I have for now, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.